Hello, it is Sunday, January 2nd, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's the first Sunday puzzle of 2022. I guess I've got a few more days of being able to say that kind of thing each day. But yes, the first Sunday puzzle of the year. So our first big grid. This will probably take a while. And it's themed, and it's entitled Color Mixing. Don't know what that means yet. I mean, I suppose it could be different colors that are comprised of other colors. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, this puzzle, this first Sunday puzzle of 2022, or at least my solve of it, is brought to you by Joe Percy, Jordan Larson, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, all three benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. So thank you so much to the three of them, as well as everybody who has backed the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. I very much appreciate it. Helps me make this a sustainable part of my daily work. And if you'd like to join their ranks at that tier or any other, you can check it out at patreon.com/dailysolve. And there you can get access to all of the past bonus video solves I've done, as well as the new ones that go up each week, like the acrostic, New York Times acrostic puzzle I put up yesterday. And I'm looking forward to doing more. I'm going to get back into doing the community-created puzzles from the Constructors Corner channel over in the Daily Solve Discord chat server, which there's a reminder as well. You can join that. Anyone can join that. If you're a member of the Patreon, you get an extra channel, but otherwise, anyone can join it, and you can play those puzzles yourself as well. So, speaking of puzzles, let's read a few comments from yesterday's crossword. Here's one from Michelle McBride Charpentier, who said, I think most people associate Tatooine filming with Tunisia, where the majority of scenes were shot, but I guess the clue is technically correct, with some misdirection. Where scenes on Tatooine were filmed needs to be read as where some or a few scenes were filmed. So I think I don't know that I would have been able to pull it out of a hat, but I do think I've heard that scenes from Star Wars were shot in Tunisia, but I guess some were shot in Death Valley, which is what the answer to yesterday's was. And regarding the, to me, surprising clue that indicated that the K button on the keyboard, the K key, pauses a YouTube video, Yakushi says the JKL video buttons on the keyboard on a YouTube page are rewind 10 seconds, pause, and forward 10 seconds, respectively. So interesting. And Belugi clarifies, he says, he or she, I suppose, they say, you were wondering about CSI Vegas, that indeed, Without Loss is the name for the 2021 sequel of the original series. So I guess and then they clarify, I meant to say the series name was Without the Loss. So that's funny. There was a CSI Las Vegas and a CSI Vegas, and one was a sequel to the other. Bradley confirms that my guess about the acronym ERA is indeed earned run average, which is basically the number of runs a pitcher gives up per 9 innings, so a low ERA is best. The best pitcher on a team's pitching staff is often referred to as their ace, so that's why an ace often has low ERA. And Brian D. says, in the New York Times, when they're using czar metaphorically, they spell it CZAR rather than TSIR. I never noticed that. I never noticed that convention, but I will pay closer attention to it now. Like Brian says, a steel czar or a retail czar. What else? There are quite a few comments, actually, so I'm probably not going to read all of them today. Kathy Swope explains that monkey bread is a sweet breakfast treat consisting of dough balls rolled in cinnamon, sugar, and chopped nuts that are baked in a cake or bundt pan. Yummy. Often made from frozen bread dough for convenience. Sounds good indeed. And Richard Lorenzen clarifies that eau oxygénée, which was the French word that we had to fill yesterday by putting in the O part, EAU, water, literally oxygenated water has the chemical formula H2O2, known as hydrogen peroxide. So there we go. All right. There were more. I apologize if I didn't get to your comment or didn't even read all of your comment, because there was a lot, and we have to get on to this extra big grid. So gotta claim any of the time we can. Anyway, this is a puzzle, Sunday puzzle, entitled Color Mixing, constructed by Paolo Pasco and edited as always by Will Shorts. Paolo Pasco, I looked him up, and according to Will Shorts' notes in today's puzzle, he's a university student studying computer science who has been publishing crosswords in the New York Times since he was 15 years old. So that's quite incredible, quite an accomplishment. And I suppose currently determining what he's going to do post-graduation. Anyway, we'll see what this color mixing thing is all about. So are we ready to get started? I say yes. Okay. Game option represented by a flat palm. Could be paper and rock, paper, scissors, perhaps, or paper, scissors, stone. But let's check the crosses, because there might be other things. There might be sort of like holding your palm up. I don't know. A referee does that to indicate something. I'm not really sure. 2024 Olympics host. I thought that was China. Is the 2024 Olympics, is that the winter ones? I can't even remember. Oh, well, it's going to be a specific city, though, of course. What city? I can't, I'm not sure if P is incorrect or correct. I'm sorry. Deal maker. Maybe this isn't paper. Christopher Street Day celebration. And still for a poet. Ian, even, or air, forever. Probably air, forever. Not clash. And outlet store, come on. Not very confident about any of this. I'm going to delete it all. Let's move on. Singer with a 2016 #1 album, A Seat at the Table. I don't know, I'm sorry. Disney Queen. It could be Elsa. That's come up a few times recently. Nwodum of SNL. I don't watch SNL, and I never actually really have. I mean, I've seen it, but I don't know very many of its cast members, unfortunately. Not clash, front lines, said without saying. Could be got at. Just going to try it since I have so nothing in the grid so far. Got ready for guests in a way. Ne'er-do-wells. Keep from sticking, say. Wait for It singer in Hamilton. Okay, this I think I know. I actually have seen Hamilton, and I think this is Aaron Burr. I think he's singing about waiting for his chance to sort of shine relative to the meteorically successful Alexander Hamilton, I think, possibly. So does that help here? Yeah, maybe this is Elsa. So keep from sticking, say. Oh, stir, maybe? Could keep I don't know, in cooking or baking, you could stir something to keep it from sticking. I'm not sure. God sometimes depicted with green skin. Osiris, maybe. Does that help? So ego nwodum, that sort of sounds plausible. Ne'er-do-wells. Lost something. Chip away at it. Erode. Oh, ne'er-do-wells. Losers, I guess? Brutal. Okay, got ready for guests in a way. Tidied up. Here we go. Okay, we found the corner that's going to give us our entree into this grid. Veto. To veto something is to nix it, to cancel it, or stop it. Volleyball teams must be sextets. I didn't know that, but I suppose they are. I suppose they have 6 people aside. You're on. It's a bet. And who says that I did love thee, Caesar? Oh, 'tis true. Not actually sure offhand about that either. Lipstick choice could be nude. Oh, I see one of our theme clues, presumably. Amber plus green equals imported brew. Amber plus green equals imported brew. So this is going to be the name of a beer that is the result of combining these colors or the letters in them. Is this an anagram, maybe? How many letters are in this answer? Oh, yeah. Well, there are 10 cells in this answer, and there are 10 letters between the words amber and green. So, wish I could see this instantly. I wonder if we can Let's see. Cerise plus lavender equals certain baby animals. And I'm just going to count the number of letters to make sure that this assumption is correct. So 14 there, and yes, 14 between the two words. Okay, so that surely is how it works, and that's also why they're capitalized to indicate that we're sort of, it's the letters that we're using as opposed to the words themselves. But I'm probably not going to try and solve those right off the top of my head. I'm going to keep chipping away. I'm going to keep trying to erode this little region over here first. Homophone of the sum of this clue number's digits. 35, which is 8. So the word 8. That's funny. Lost traction while driving over. Skidded or lost traction while driving over a road. Skid on? Maybe? Clinches, well, it's going to have an S almost certainly anyway. Could this be a K? No, it actually can't be because slid on, I guess. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Why did I not jump to that more easily? You lost traction while driving over a road. You slid on a road. So coral plus gold equals pet store purchase. And we have the L, A, and R already accounted for. I'm sorry. This is going to be a case where I'm sure many of you are going to be yelling at me through the screen here as I fail to notice what is probably some pretty obvious anagrams. Coral plus gold. Sometimes when I'm trying to solve an anagram, which comes up a lot in a cryptic crossword, which I've been doing some of recently, sometimes I'll just sort of write the letters into the grid in a basically, dog collar. Yeah, okay, it worked. So that's often what I'll try and do is I'll start just picking letters in a different order than how they are in the words that we're using to create the anagram. And I'll just start entering them in sort of vaguely plausible ways that look like they might be an English word. And often you can solve it pretty quickly from there, especially if you have some fill already in the grid. Okay, 3/4 and 7/8, e.g. Or those could be musical time signatures. I mean, it says and, so there's going to be two, it's plural. Why do I not know what that is? Done could be over. A hound sound could be gur. A newcomer, and then here we have quarterback who holds the NFL record for most consecutive games started. This is a name I remember from the 90s, I think. Brett Favre. Couldn't tell you anything about that person. I just sort of remember his name. I think maybe from a commercial in which someone sort of tries to awkwardly pronounce it Favre or something. Anyway, there's a sports answer I could actually enter in the grid. What do you know? So a newcomer is what? And artist El Greco. That's at least I can put that in the grid. The motor industry's Titanic, per in 1994. The Ford Edsel, a famously ill-fated model, which I believe was named for Henry Ford's son, I think, was Edsel Ford, maybe. I could be misremembering some element of that. But anyway, a famous automotive flop. So clinches is aces. And does that help at all with Singer with the 2016 #1 album, A Seat at the Table? I don't know, maybe not for me, probably for you. Front lines. Oh, front lines with a question mark. So front lines. So it could be a front meaning a pretension or a disguise or an alibi or something. And then right here we have cerise plus lavender equals certain baby animals. Boy, that feels like too many letters for me to want to solve right this moment. State in which Parks and Recreation is set. Abbreviation. I have seen some of that show. What is it? Is it Indiana or Illinois? I think it's one of those two. So I do think it starts with an I. But I can't remember beyond that. Pull some strings, maybe. Employee on an airline or cruise ship. A crew member. A steward, perhaps? An sinuous dance that emulates a creature. Don't know. Prefix with centric or vision. Eurovision, Eurocentric, Eurovision. Eurovision, the song competition, and Eurocentric, meaning an attitude that is oriented around Europe. Could be with that R, if that R is right. Blank stick, it could be pogo stick. Here's a case where I feel as though I'm building a number of slightly tenuous assumptions on one another because all of these things could be so many other things if the crosses were slightly different. Oh, the worm, a sinuous dance that emulates a creature. It emulates a worm and is called the worm. Okay, that makes me think this is all correct. A train set. Cars, a set of cars for a train, perhaps? Wood in some incense. I think cedar wood is often used in incense. Amber plus green equals imported brew. I'm sure this will be blindingly obvious once I actually see what it is. But I don't yet. Ida B. Wells, Society for Investigative Reporting. Ida B. Wells, famous reporter. Bottle flipping in the mid-2010s, e.g. a fad. What a funny fad that was, and yet cannot be denied that it was one. Bow or bonsai, a tree, I would think. And a talent is a gift. Okay, great. We've got another letter in here. Why do I still not see what this is? Oh, German beer. That's why I didn't see, because I was looking for a particular brewery name for the imported brew, but indeed it's looking for a general category of imported brews, which are German beers. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised I didn't get that, but I'm glad to have eventually seen it. Took off. If something really took off, it could be said to have flown. It flew. And 3, 4, and 7, 8 EGs. Oh, dates. Didn't look at possibly the most obvious. Well, I guess the most obvious way to interpret these is simply as generic mathematical fractions, but probably the second most obvious would be calendar dates. And they're 3, 4, and 7, 8, which either of those could be plausibly read in the American style or the way that everybody else does it. Tailor, maybe, could be to alter an article of clothing, for instance. To bring down could be to abase or abate, really. It depends what you're saying, I guess. If something abates, it doesn't mean bring down, it means comes down. You don't abate something else, you cause something to abate, or something else abates of its own accord. Whereas to bring someone down, say, could be to abase them, to lower them with your words or actions. And yes, I do think that's more likely because this across clue is a plural, hospital settings briefly. So it could be operating rooms or emergency rooms, ORs or ERs. I don't know which, so we'll put an R there. And par for the course is normal. Oops. Golf metaphor, I suppose. A bunch. Oh, maybe I have something wrong. Maybe bring down is... a bunch. Oh, I typed normal incorrectly. Sorry, okay. Oh, that still doesn't look great. Took off could be fled, not flew. They're both pretty plausible. You could say took off as in the plane took off, it flew. Or I took off, I fled. So a bunch is loads. Okay, good. I'm glad I sorted that out. That was confusing. And this looks like a sale. If it's an outlet store, come on, and that confirms hospital settings to be emergency rooms rather than operating rooms. So outlet store, come on. A tag sale? A big tag sale or something? I'm not sure if there's a common phrase around that I'm not aware of. Pull some strings, maybe. Huh. Pull some strings, maybe. I keep wanting to say tugs, but that doesn't work. It's the wrong... We wouldn't want an S on the end of it. Stave off could be fend off. Oh, tune, as in tune a guitar or a violin. Pull some strings of the instrument to tune them. There we go. And what about this? Front line. False word? It doesn't fit now. Oh, a foreword to a book. There we go. Lines at the front, so to speak, of the book. A foreword. Very clever. Miffed. You could be miffed, you could be sore, you could be angry. Fantasy creature whose name is an anagram of another fantasy creature. Okay, probably orc which can be anagrammed in the spirit of this crossword, can be anagrammed to create a rock, the giant mythical bird that could carry an elephant. Rural setting could be a lea or lay, L-E-A, field. What's the point of leatherwork? An all, literally, and we have the question mark, which I don't know if I mentioned actually yet on this puzzle, but the question mark indicates punning or wordplay of some kind, so we shouldn't read this with its most obvious meaning. So it doesn't mean the objective of leatherwork, but rather, in this case, literally a physical point, an awl, which is used to create a hole in leather. Oh, this must be Solange Knowles. And here we have a newcomer, a novice. So, clinches isn't aces, but rather ices, which is a few cases in this puzzle, actually, where a difference of just one or two letters produces a fairly plausible alternative answer, which can create some ambiguity and difficulty. But in this case, clinch is ices, which, yeah, you iced it, I guess. You or iced the match, I suppose. I don't know. I'm probably using that very poorly. It's not a phrase I use often, so I'm doing it very inexpertly. But anyway, I get what it means, basically, and that gives us a newcomer as a novice. So here we have calves. So calf is indeed often a baby animal. So what letters do we have remaining? We need the D. Oh, it must be reindeer calves. Once I saw the D, it seemed obvious. I'm sure that fits. Reindeer. Yeah, that works. So reindeer calves are certain baby animals formed by anagramming cerise and lavender. Oh, is Paris the 2024 Olympics host? I didn't remember that at all. And so I suppose this is paper. Game option represented by flat palm. And here we have a red tag sale, I guess. I'm not familiar with that, but I guess I've seen that before. Red tags in a store when things are on deep discount. And still, for a poet, probably is Ian then, contraction of even. And Pride Parade, Christopher Street Day Parade. Christopher Street, is that New York? There is a Christopher Street in New York anyway. Not clashed, for something to not clash, it's to agree. Oh, and that's we had a Pride Parade clue yesterday. I think it actually might even have been the answer Pride Parade. I'm ever more convinced that Will Shortz does arrange these puzzles to create those little pairings, because it's happened actually a number of times with various clues in recent weeks. It must be intentional. So a deal maker is an agent, and the state in which Parks and Recreation is set must be Indiana, and which I think was one of the ones I guessed maybe, but I wasn't really sure. And then here we had one named singer with the album Lovers Rock. Don't know the album, but Sade would fit, so I'm going to put her name in there. Truth blank, could be Truth Serum in 5 letters with an S. Young at Heart Persona. Not sure. Boy, that's really ringing a bell, but I can't place it. Final Fantasy character who shares his name with a U.S. city. No idea. Reno, maybe? I mean, Reno would fit as a U.S. city. I have no idea if that's a character from Final Fantasy. What about this? Sachet, say, could be strut. Pear plus crimson equals fighting group. It's an interesting ending there with the RPS. RPS, what else do we have? Oh, Corps, probably, actually, with the C and the O. Marine Corps. There we go. All right, I'm doing better on these anagrams than I was early on. I suppose that's because I have some crosses now. That does tend to help in crosswords. Antony. That I did love these. Caesar. Oh, 'tis true. Must be Antony. And chemistry, for one, is a science. And it says abbreviation, so we know it will be an abbreviated form of the answer, in this case, SCI for science. Max is opposite, so as a max or maximum, opposite is minimum. And to come out is to emerge. Let's see. Blank to go. Could be rarin to go, which is very often contracted in that way, losing the G. That would allow this character here to be Reno, which, for all I know, it is. Poster board. With a question mark again. Poster board. Oh, a forum, an online forum where people post. Oh, Anima, Young at Heart. So this must be what Carl Jung and the Anima, which I'm not educated enough in this sort of theory to explain, but it has something to do with the self and the spirit in some way. Sorry for that incredibly inexpert blather. Lime plus magenta equals visualization. Mental image, this looks like to me. Okay, grinding tooth, a molar. High on marijuana in slang. I guess it makes me incredibly uncool to not instantly know what this is. What is this? I'm not sure. Let's come back to it. Actor Gallagher. Not sure about that either. Twangy as a singer. Nasal, I suppose. And us, it, or her. These films? These look like films to me. Oh, it's or, so it's a single one. So each one of those is a title. And we know that the answer probably isn't going to be pronoun, for instance, because these are capitalized and in quotation marks. So it's referring to a proper noun. Well, these are examples of proper nouns, and so the type of proper noun they are is a title. Actor Gallagher, Aidan Gallagher, I suppose. I mean, it would fit. I don't know who that is offhand. Oh, faded high on marijuana. That actually sounds sort of correct. Oh, maybe not. What is distressed? Oh, I see. Distressed. I see. You have your tresses of hair have been removed, and you are bald. Vessels hunted by K-ships, that would be U-boats, the German submarines. And rust plus scarlet equals celestial group. Well, cluster, so it must be star cluster. Rust plus scarlet equals celestial group, star cluster. And way to go. Not sure. What about this? Parts of many gaming rigs. PCs? I mean, those are... Gaming rig, I thought, would refer to a computer itself. So parts of many gaming rigs. What else? What are parts of computers that have... And there's parts, it's plural, so we'd have a S. What does that mean? Subject of... This must be PCs. I'm not sure this quite makes sense. But here we have subject of some collegiate bragging. That's probably GPA or grade point average. So that would make this PCs, personal computers, parts of many gaming rigs. Maybe gaming rigs also refers to the sort of, I don't know, monitor in the general environment and everything else around you, perhaps. I'm not really sure what that is getting at in this particular context, but I think PCs is probably correct. Computers, gaming rigs. Way to go. I see. Way to go. So egress. So egress meaning a route out of a place, a point of egress, a way to go, to leave. And plot problems could be plot holes. In a bundle as documents could be what? Sheafed, I suppose. A sheaf of documents. And plantings lining the literary walk in Central Park. Wouldn't have known this right off the top of my head, but elms looks pretty plausible. Culinary phrase after pollo or scallopine. Pollo al what? Not sure. Hopefully we see it with some crosses. Wasn't straight. If you weren't straight with someone, you told a lie. And a 2019 space film. Oh, right, I never saw this, but Ad Astra. I remember it coming out. Skier's accessory could be a ski pole. If you're for something, you are pro it, in favor of it. And a ways. So if something is a ways away, it is far away. Here we have another anagram. Teal plus ochre equals breakfast option. Boy, you couldn't spell oatmeal with this. There's no M. Hot something. Hot cereal. Does that fit? I bet it does. It does. Hot cereal. There we go. There's our breakfast option from Teal and Ochre. And here we have That's It. That's it. The end, maybe? Fisher of 2018's 8th grade. Elsie, Ellie. Modern checkout device. Oh, ICBN number? No, that's the book number. What is this? That's not really a device either. I kind of am wondering if it has an I here because of this name. It sort of looks like it might. Modern checkout device. An iPad? Oh, yes. Often, especially in small businesses, people will have iPads as their cash checkout. Well, not cash, but their usually credit card acceptance device. So a nappy in the UK, a nappy here in the UK is how a diaper in the US would be referred, a nappy. And map lines abbreviation are roads or routes. Could be a D or a T. African antelope, eland. So are D's map lines for roads. And throws in adds. Throw in an idea, you add an idea, for instance. Oh, al marsala, culinary phrase after pollo or escalopine. Must be marsala sauce, al marsala. And so must be Elsie Fisher of 2018's 8th grade. I actually really wanted to see 8th grade, and I never did. I probably should make a point to do so. One towering over the rest of the field. A silo, perhaps, on a farm. You could have a farm field. And again, here we have the question mark indicating some kind of pun or wordplay. And so in this case, ordinarily we would read this to mean someone who's better at a given field, a given area of study or practice than someone else. They're towering over everyone else. But in this case, we're reading it actually in a more literal way, which is not what we would have assumed. Actress Rooney, Mara Rooney, perhaps? And blank Giedroyc, boy, this Welsh name I'm probably butchering. Anyway, this is Mel, co-host of the Great British Bake Off, although she hasn't been for years now. Usually these clues are, usually they're kept fairly current in the sense that they would say former co-host or something like that. In any case, she is not currently one. Cross swords. Fence. Sooty channels. Sooty channels. Let's put an S at the... Oh, flues, perhaps? A chimney flue would be a channel in which soot could accrue, so maybe that's probably what that is. Takes the edge off. Dolls or... Takes the edge off. And here we have goddess who turned Picus into a woodpecker. Boy, I don't know. I've probably encountered that story, but I certainly don't remember. Mauve plus tangerine equals restaurant. Handout. Well, it certainly ends with menu. There are very few words that end in English anyway with a U, or an NU especially, so menu is one of them. Mauve plus tangerine. Not sure offhand. Again, I'm sorry if you see it. Rapper known off stage as Mathangi Aral Pragasam. I'm not familiar with this person, unfortunately. We'll have to keep looking around and get some crosses for this corner. Diagnostic scans for short could be MRIs, magnetic resonance imagery, or something like that. Of the flock could be, no, I was going to say laic, but that's sort of the opposite, isn't it? Well, no, yeah, you could be part of the laity, part of the flock of believers. So laic, as opposed to a member of the clergy, I guess. That makes sense. Novelist Ferrante, Elena Ferrante, the excellent Italian novelist who wrote the Neapolitan novels, which began with My Brilliant Friend, which are absolutely great. Car model name made entirely of Roman numerals. Oh, the Civic, the Honda Civic. Indeed, made entirely of Roman numerals. It doesn't really add up to a valid construction of a Roman numeral, but individually they are. Oh, vegetarian menu. There we go. Mauve plus tangerine equals vegetarian menu. Does that look right? I think it does. Great. Here we have a heavy footwear choice. Could be no, I was going to say clogs, but that doesn't work at all. There's an R right there. What am I talking about? Heavy footwear choice. Oh, a brogue? I mean, it fits the crosses, but I don't see why it would be heavy, and also doesn't really look very good with these crosses, so I don't think that's correct. Frenzied could be in a panic, maybe. Is there more? Could be and is there more? Stuff in cigarettes, but not e-cigarettes. Tar, I suppose. And a clean energy group would be the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Unbelievable rumors would be canards, from the French for, what, duck, I guess? Heavy footwear choice. So actually, what is this? I guess it's something I don't know. Brogan? Not actually sure what that is, I'm sorry. Film director Isaac Chung. Ray kind of rings a bell, but I'm not 100% sure. Doner kebab bread, pita bread. Cream plus peach equals nonviolent protest. I'll need some crosses for that. Daughter in the comic strip Foxtrot. Daughter. So a woman's name could be Paige. Would fit. What about this? Progressive alternative. So Progressive, an insurance company, I think in this context probably, and Geico. Actually, that would fit Paige. Let's put that in and see. Payment sent could be a remittance. You could remit payment, and it would be a remittance. Go astray is to err, to make a mistake. Remittance. There we go. Oh, Circe. That makes sense because Circe was always turning people into animals. So the goddess who turned Picus into a woodpecker, Circe, that must be correct. And takes the edge off. And here we have rapper, right, here we have the rapper that I didn't know. One's doing stellar work, astronomers. Oh, so takes the edge off is eases. Oh, MIA. Okay. Well, I am familiar with her, but I didn't know her full name. Takes the edge off, eases, and absolves is lets off, as in lets off the hook, I suppose. Absolves someone of their crimes. Evening in Italy. Sera. And a devotee informally, a stan. This is becoming a bit of crosswordese, I think, in reference to the Eminem song. Latin 101 word. Latin 101 word. Could be amos. And no injuries here. I'm okay. This looks like peace march. Yes. Peace march. Cream plus peach equals nonviolent protest. A peace march. All right, we're really finishing this thing off now. Let's see, what do we have here? You're still talking? Oh, yawn. I see. And the brackets generally mean that the answer will be something vocal but nonverbal. So it's a sound you're making, but it's not words. I mean, it's yawn. It's describing a vocal nonverbal sound. One arranging for flood insurance. I suppose Noah, who arranged for it in the sense that he's saved a bunch of animals. Cha Chun Tang serving. Could this be tea, cha, tea, and total wreck. So to total a car, to wreck it. And here we have Herc could stop a show, point him at a monster, and you're talking SRO. Lyric in Disney's Hercules. This, I don't actually think I ever saw the film Hercules, but I think this must be referencing SRO, standing room only. So here we have an actual relatively recent, I mean within the last couple decades, reference to this SRO acronym that comes up in, or initialism, I guess, that comes up in New York Times crosswords all the time. It's for standing room only, referring to a very successful dramatic production such that only standing room remains. Many an art print, briefly, could be a litho, a lithograph, and I'm in heaven sounds could be ahs, ah, I'm in heaven. An element in many henna designs could be a petal. Henna, the traditional tattoo art form. And no, so it wasn't Ray. Who was I thinking of? Lee Isaac Chung, maybe? Bees, yes, bees in math could be betas, and that gives us Brogan, which kind of sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is. Or at least I don't confidently know what it is. But anyway, there's the Sunday puzzle. Polished it off in 34 minutes. Not too bad a time for a Sunday puzzle on video. Certainly have taken longer in the past. This one really took me a while to find a way in. I was not, I mean, in some of these, I guess, this is the kind of clue. Singer with the 2016 #1 album is seated at the table, where you pretty much either know it or you don't. It's not really a matter of trying to think of more synonyms and maybe you're reading the clue incorrectly or whatever. It's pretty much straightforward knowledge, and either you know the answer or you don't. And obviously, in this case, I didn't until I saw enough clues to recognize the name of a singer. But I did not do very well in the top of this grid until, I don't remember what it was, but started to get things around this area. It might have been chip away at. And Aaron Burr, I think, was another relatively early get. So that corner was really what gave me my way in. And then really enjoyed these anagrams. I only used my trick once because I got very lucky with this one with dog color when I started entering the letters in, and they exactly ended up corresponding to dog color right off the bat. But often that trick, I didn't do it very often because it can end up being, sort of arbitrary, and you put things in and you flip letters around, and I didn't think it would necessarily be incredibly entertaining to watch. So I tended to just skip these if I didn't have enough crosses to take a reasonable guess. But anyway, let's look over at them again. So we have cerise plus lavender equals certain baby animals, which are reindeer calves. Coral plus gold equals a pet store purchase, a dog collar. German beer, this one really confounded me for a while. Amber plus green, the German beer, the imported brew. Here we have a pear and crimson fighting group, the Marine Corps. A lime and magenta visualization is a mental image. Rust and scarlet celestial group is a star cluster. Cream and peach nonviolent protest is a peace march. Probably should have been able to get that one more easily, given that peace is almost exactly spelled out in peach, only missing a single letter. Teal and ochre breakfast cereal is hot. Breakfast option, is hot cereal. And finally, a mauve and tangerine restaurant handout is a vegetarian menu. And we didn't have any revealer, I don't think, in this puzzle. We just had the theme clues themselves, and we had to work out how to solve them. But I think that part anyway was fairly clear early on, especially given you can count the number of letters in the answer and the anagram bits of the clue and see that they're the same. And so it does point in that direction. Anyway, I thought a very nice and fun Sunday puzzle. It did give me some resistance, especially at the beginning, but didn't end up being incredibly stubborn throughout, which I always appreciate in a Sunday puzzle because this is such a big grid. I don't want it to be really stumping me the entire time. And a kind of nice little pattern. There's almost a little sort of Pepsi logo or something in the middle of this grid. So well done by Paolo Pasco. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who might like this, do pass it along. Word of mouth is really the only method I have to grow the audience of this series. So I appreciate if you do so. And if you would like to support the series more directly, do head over to the Patreon page at patreon.com/dailysolve. And for a few pounds a month or the equivalent in your local currency, you can help support this series' ability to continue, as well as gaining access to all of those bonus solves, as well as that extra chat channel in the Discord chat server. And of course, even if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can join the you can join the Discord chat server as well. And you can join in with the daily Wordle posts that are going on in there. People are playing that word game Wordle, which I did once or twice. I can't even remember if I did it once or twice. That's embarrassing. At least once, I think twice on the channel in the past few days. Let me know if you want me to keep doing that. I didn't do it today, obviously, because we had this big, long Sunday puzzle, but it's fun. I'm still playing it every day because I enjoy it. Anyway, I suppose that's it for the Sunday. Do come back tomorrow for the first Monday puzzle of 2022, a much easier and quicker solve than this one, undoubtedly. I hope you will be back for it. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.